This is the motorcycle wave. It's the universal way that motorcyclists salute each other when riding on the street. And today we're going to talk about where this thing actually came from. The most famous story right now is that in 1904, the creators of Harley Davidson, Arthur Davidson and William Harley, passed each other on motorcycles and they waved to each other. And apparently that's how the wave started, but that's not the actual origin. Sure, motorcycle riders have been waving to each other since the dawn of time, and I'm not sure Harley is the only motorcycle brand to do it, but this specific Sideways V is something that only emerged recently. The first thing you might notice about this is that it looks a lot like a V or a peace sign, and that's not a coincidence. The V sign emerged back in World War II, and it stood for victory over the Axis powers. It was seen in the hands of Winston Churchill, seen in the hands of citizens, and in the hands of soldiers. And this symbol held its prominence many years after the war as a remembrance to victory and an acknowledgement to all the brave soldiers who fought for peace. Motorcycle culture in the 50s had a very strong connection to the military. A large number of veterans took up motorcycling and joined clubs that matched the camaraderie, the loyalty, and the ranking system that you'd find in the military. Here we can draw a strong connection between the V for victory, the veterans who cultivated motorcycle culture, and the motorcycle salute. But when I asked people who rode motorcycles in the 50s and the 60s, they told me that the wave wasn't a thing back then. And that makes sense because if you look at motorcycling in the 50s and the 60s, it was a fairly solo endeavor. You had a lot of bike clubs that kept to themselves. As portrayed through many of the movies at the time, motorcycling was seen as an exclusive and rebellious act. And of course, not all riders were like this in the 50s. Just to be clear, 99% were perfectly normal human beings who just wanted to go for a ride. But of course, motorcyclists weren't driving around in the 50s and 60s throwing peace signs at each other. It wasn't a thing back then. It's only something that actually came into fruition in the late 60s and early 70s. If you start to look at what was happening in the world at that time, it starts to make sense. Now, if we look at the late 60s and early 70s, it was a time of immense political change. We had social right activists taking the streets, we had anti-war protests and outcries for peace. And all that stuff connects directly to motorcycle culture. If you look at motorcycle riders in the 70s, they had a very strong hippie vibe to them. This new idea of peace and social change and social acceptance, and that was something that never really existed in the motorcycle community before. And this is when Honda comes in and creates one of the most legendary ad campaigns of all time. You might have heard this, you always meet the nicest people on a Honda. You meet the nicest people under Hondas. You meet the nicest people on a Honda. You meet the nicest people on a Honda. Honda capitalized on the emerging hippie movement by creating a brand image that went totally against everything the motorcycle community stood for in the 50s and 60s. They made motorcycles an acceptable form of transportation for just about everyone. And this campaign pushed forward the idea that motorcyclists were in fact friendly people. They had an advertisement where a priest was doing wheelies on a Honda. A priest. And if a priest can ride a Honda, a motorcycle, then why can't you? Right? It's not like the priest is doing Sunday Mass in the morning and then joining the Hells Angels at night. This advertising campaign carried through the 70s, and it single-handedly changed the way motorcyclists were viewed and the way the community treated other motorcyclists. And this makes sense why the majority of people saw the wave emerge in the late 60s and early 70s, because that's the time when the motorcycle community was becoming a friendlier place. In the midst of a hippie movement and the use of the peace sign and one of the most wholesome advertising campaigns of all time, that we saw the emergence of the motorcycle wave. And this is, of course, a lot more convenient than doing a traditional wave. You can be holding on to your handlebars, you can throw up the V sign. But this symbol here meant a lot more than just saying hello. It's a symbol that really mattered in a time where motorcycle people were very divided. And this literally meant that you came in peace. It meant, hey, I acknowledge you and we are part of the same team and of the same motorcycle riding community, and I'm looking out for you. And this sign has transformed a little bit throughout the years. It's gone from being right side up to upside down, and that's because the bikes we ride are very different now, but the meaning of it is the same. There are a lot of people out there who don't do the motorcycle wave, and that's perfectly fine. You really don't have to do it. It's really up to you. Sometimes it's just inconvenient to throw the peace sign. If I'm doing a wheelie, don't throw a peace sign. If you're knee down in a corner, don't throw up a peace sign. Or if you live in Malaysia, you might get tired of throwing up a billion peace signs a day. But for me, when I pass another rider, I always throw up the peace sign. And not only as a, hey, good to see you, but also as a, hey, I respect you and I hope you get home safe. If you want to be friendly and acknowledge on a rider, just do it. And I guarantee you will make that rider's day a little bit better. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it and you want to see more, please subscribe to Gastro Media and like this video. Take care, have a good night, and I'll see you next time.
Do it! Just do it! Don't let your dreams be dreams. Yesterday, you said tomorrow. So just